Today we'll talk about Internet of Things and security issues. I'm Professor Anastasios Economides. I'm from the University of Macedonia, Thessaloniki, Greece. I have a PhD from the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. My PhD was on routing problems and using a game theoretical approach. I'm now also the director of CONDA Lab, it's Computer Networks and Telematic Applications Lab at the University of Macedonia. And so let's start with our presentation. Thessaloniki, first a little of motivation about Thessaloniki, our university, our lab, in order that you can come to Thessaloniki and collaborate with us. So this is Thessaloniki. It is the second city after Athens in the North Greece. The University of Macedonia, Alexander the Great, and some pictures. It is a city on the sea near Thessaloniki, about 1 hour distance. There are many nice beaches in Chalkidiki. There is also the Agioros, holy mountain, with full of monasteries. Here is Mountain Olympus, this well-known mountain, and some lakes, mountains around Thessaloniki, and also in Vergina there is the Philip's Top, Philip, the father of Alexander the Great. Now, about our lab, the Computer Networks and Telematic Application Lab, we are working on computer networking in e-learning and smart services, like e-culture, e-tourism, smart cities, etc. With respect to computer networking, we are working on Internet of Things. I will present here today an introduction to Internet of Things, on cloud computing, peer-to-peer and social networks, on mobile, wireless, cellular, sensor networking, on security issues on networks, visualization, virtualization of networks, on competition, techno-economics and pricing issues of networks, and also on energy-aware networking, green networking. With respect to e-learning, we work on context-aware, adaptive, personalized, mobile, affective, pervasive, and ubiquitous learning and assessment, on feedback and recommendation and learning analytics, on e-learning and e-assessment, on game-based learning, on MOOCs, on student models, on student acceptance of systems, etc. And on smart devices, smart services, we work on user modeling, user behavior, the acceptance of systems and services by users, on human-computer interaction, and the user studies on smart cities, e-health, e-tourism, e-government, e-culture, e-entertainment, e-libraries, etc. Now, with respect to our presentation on Internet of Things, we are organizing also a workshop in London in conjunction with the IEEE International Conference on Communications. The workshop is called IEEE International Workshop on Security and Privacy for Internet of Things and Cyber-Physical Systems. The deadline is in less than a month, 10th of January. And you can find information on our website. This is the first workshop on Internet of Things and cyber-physical systems security and privacy issues. Now, the presentation today will cover the following topics: the definitions for the Internet of Things, some economical issues about forecasting the Internet of Things, market and economics. I will cover a lot of time on the applications in several areas. So maybe you will be motivated to work in one of these areas, and I know that some of you are working also in some areas. I will talk a little about the technology, and the research challenges. Then I will move on the security challenges and issues, because why it is important, the security in Internet of Things. And I will concentrate on the wireless sensor networking security, because there are security also on the devices, on security of software, etc. I will talk about attacks and defense, and about a recent issue that we are working on, security visualization, and then I will conclude. So the Internet of Things, all of us have heard about the Internet of Things. It will connect people, processes, data, things together, and they will communicate all these things. And eventually some decisions will be made. So there are several definitions. I have collected 2 definitions by IETF. Internet of Things will connect objects in order to have seamless communication without understanding that there is something is happening, and contextual services. Also by the IERC, Internet of Things Research in Europe cluster. Europe is investing a lot on Internet of Things, European Union. Internet of Things enable the objects in our environment to become active participants, so they share information with other members in the network, and they are capable of recognizing events and changes, and acting and reacting autonomously. So this word of autonomous is important. I have also given a definition that Internet of Things is the worldwide ICT infrastructures that supports ubiquitous services among interacting humans, machines, data, and applications. Now, some issues that why the business want to move to Internet of Things. This is the source is Cisco. So the main reason why business want the Internet of Things is to increase the operational efficiency. Also, what drives the Internet of Things? The main driver is that we have new types of connected devices. The sensors become smaller and smaller. They need less energy consumption, and they have more capabilities. Also, we have increased volumes of data. We have also the cloud computing that is a hot topic again today. We have high-speed networks, and we have lower costs for storage and computing, and also some other issues. Again, this is a work by Cisco. Now, what are the forecasting for Internet of Things with respect to millions or billions or trillions of devices and of money? Cisco expects that there will be 50 billion devices by 2020. IDC talks about 30 billion devices. ABI talks about 30 billion devices. Gartner about 26 billion units. Ericsson about 50 billion units. Also IBM talks about trillions, but I don't include this here because it is much more exaggerated number. But all of these, they talk about around 30 billion devices. Here we have a diagram by Gartner, and we are here and we are moving there with respect to number of devices. Most of these devices will be sensor or will have sensors. Now, the economical impact. Harbor Research talks about 500 billion, and the revenues will be, this will be the total money around Internet of Things, and also about 33 billions in revenue. McKinsey talks about 2.7 trillion. and the main activities will be on health care. GSMA and Machina Research talk about $4.5 trillion. And this money will come from revenues, cost reduction, and service improvement. So these money are not just revenues. Cisco talks about 19 trillion. IDC talks about 3 trillion. Gartner talks about 300 billion revenue, but this will produce 1.9 trillion in economic value added, and especially in manufacturing, healthcare, and insurance companies. Now, what is the status of IoT deployment from the companies right now? From the Zebra and Forrester Consulting have done a survey, and they found among CEOs of companies, and they found that 75% of companies are exploring to have Internet of Things. 15% of organizations already have an Internet of Things solution. 53% of the organization plan to implement one within the next 2 years, and 21% of transportation and logistics companies already have Internet of Things solutions. And I know that this area, transportation and logistics, is an area that Angel is interested in. Now we see, again from a survey from Computer World, now these days, this survey was published 1 week ago. It says that the CEOs of companies will spend 32% money on Internet of Things during the next year. 22% will spend money on high-performance computing, and 16% on energy-saving technologies. The question was, please tell us about your organization's technology spending plans in the next 12 months. And they said that they will spend 32% of their money on Internet of Things. Now, Cisco have noticed that and have forecasted that there will be a saturation of the networks during the next years due to high volume traffic. There will be 300% increase of the traffic in the networks by 2018. And from all this traffic, 57% will be IP traffic, and usually by mobile devices. So Wi-Fi will generate 49% of IP traffic. Also other mobile connected devices will generate 12% of IP traffic. So they plan to invest $1 billion to develop a new network. So this is, again, this is something that came out in the news during the last weeks. And it is a very aggressive movement by Cisco. Now let's go to the applications and to see how Internet of Things is used and will be used in the near future. We have several areas. This is a fancy slide. I took it from Deloitte. And I will go on these areas in the next slides. So one area is smart healthcare and well-being. And in this area, a lot of companies are investing right now and producing new products. So this will be with respect to personal health, to personal devices like the wearables, glasses, you know, the glasses, the watches, and the mobiles. Clothes that will monitor the temperature of the persons and other issues of the person. Devices for personal exercise. Devices for monitoring infant, elderly, and patient. Devices for assistance of special needs persons. Also devices and Internet of Things applications in hospitals, health retreats, in pharmaceuticals, either in the industries or in the logistics area of pharmaceuticals, on emergency, and also on recreational activities for enjoyment and amusement. Now, Libellium, this is a consortium of companies on Internet of Things, have specified specific applications on e-health, like fall detection. If someone falls, an elderly or disabled people. Medical fridges. Fridges for storing vaccines, medicines, organic elements, and they will notify the doctors or others that this, let's say, vaccine should be consumed in the next 5 weeks, or we have a shortage of vaccines for this specific illness, and we need to replace vaccines in the fridge. Sportsman care, monitoring the performance of athletes. Patients surveillance, monitoring people in the hospitals. Ultraviolet radiation, monitoring the UV sun rays. Another area is the smart home. We have already in the homes devices that are monitoring the temperature, the smoke, if there is a linkage of water or some other liquid. So there will be safety detectors for surveillance also, if an intruder is coming to the home, to not only to monitor but also to adjust the environment, heat, air, light, and for entertainment and others. So Libellium again has identified specific applications for domotic and home automation, like the energy and water use, in order to save costs and resources. And we will see this that is also applied in smart cities, and Barcelona is doing this. In remote control appliances, to turn off devices by remotely for security reasons or for avoiding accidents, for saving energy. The intrusion detection systems for security reasons. Also, art and goods preservation in museums and art warehouses in order to control the atmosphere for preserving the art collections. In smart buildings, here we have a picture by Philips that shows how the lighting can be adjusted using Internet of Things applications. So we have energy and lighting applications, for security and surveillance again, for emergency like fire, gas, if there's a problem in a building, for metering the electricity, the water, or the other utilities in the offices, in hotels, etc. Here we have a picture by NR that shows a student dormitory in a university where we have sensors, a centralized monitoring center, and several devices that control the environment. Smart utilities. In order to monitor the utilities, the metering, fault detections, utilities like electricity, water, gas, waste management, in tolls and bridges. Here we see for electricity a picture by Alcatel-Lucent that monitors the system of transferring electricity via the cables. So in this area we have smart metering, and Libellium identifies these applications for smart grid monitoring and management. Monitoring the level of water, oil or gas in tanks. We have stored tanks in cities or in industry with water, oil, gas and other liquids or gases. For photovoltaic installations, in order to measure the solar energy, to measure the water flow in water transportation systems, either in cities or in dams or in other places. And also in silo stock calculations for measuring the emptiness level and weight of goods. We store products or food in silos, and we want to know how much goods we have in that. For smart water, I told you also here in Barcelona they have used such kind of applications in monitoring the potable water, in detection of chemical leakage in rivers. You know, this is a serious problem, especially in populated areas where some factories throw liquids in the rivers or in lakes. And usually the authorities cannot control who is doing what, who is polluted the rivers. In swimming pools, to control the conditions of a swimming pool, temperature, chlorine or whatever else. The pollution levels in seas. You know, in Mediterranean is a very large sea, and it is very difficult to control who is putting waste either by the coast or from ships. So we can try to monitor the pollution levels in the sea and who is polluted the sea. Water leakages in pipes, pipes that transfer gas, oil, water or whatever else. And also monitoring the variations of river floods in dams, reservoirs. You know, for example, some accidents have been done in rivers because when in an area rains that is, let's say, 200 kilometers away from where we are, the river can have a lot of water and can cause a lot of damage because suddenly a lot of water is coming. So if we have sensors everywhere along the way of the river, you can notify people that a lot of water is coming. Now let's go to the area of smart cities and smart communities. We have applications in e-government, again security and surveillance issues, in emergency, like when there is a fire or flood or a tsunami that is coming, hurricane or whatever else, in energy management like the lighting, monitoring the air and water quality, also traffic control, traffic lights, parking spaces, in transportation, the cars, buses, metro, trams, etc. For tourism, culture, arts, and education. Here we have a picture by Alcatel and Lucent. So Libellium has identified these specific applications for smart parking, and I will tell you also about Barcelona in the next slide. monitoring the empty parking spaces and notifying the car owners where there are free parking spaces. Also, the health of structures like buildings, bridges, historical monuments. You can monitor the situation, for example, in bridges. If a bridge is stable or something wrong is happening in a bridge or in a tunnel. Also, monitoring the sound in areas in a city, like in an area that a lot of bars are in this area. Also, using smartphone devices to detect smartphone devices, for example, for advertisement or for marketing reasons. Measuring the electromagnetic field levels. Our cities are full of electromagnetic waves, not only from the cellular telephony, but also from Wi-Fi and other devices. Traffic congestion, that I told you before. Smart lighting. I will tell you about Barcelona in the next slide. Waste management, again I will say about this for Barcelona. Now let's talk about Barcelona, that is a smart city, and maybe it is the, let's say, best smart city in Europe and the 5th, I think, in the world. There are sensors everywhere for monitoring traffic, parking spaces, street lights, air pollution, meteorological conditions, humidity of green spaces in park, the trash bins, etc. Let's see what is happening in Born. The street lights light when there is activity, when they sense that there is activity around the area. If no one is walking, then the street lights shut down. So this saves energy. Also, the street lights have other sensors to monitor air pollution or traffic or noise. Also, the trash cans. The trash cans have sensors that notify the workers, the sanitation workers, that they have to be collected, that they are full, and someone has to go to empty them. And this is done wireless. Also, there is the irrigation system in the Poblenou Central Park, adjust the level of water by the conditions. So it monitors the conditions and also the meteorological data. If it is raining, then there is no need to put water in the flowers. So all these are done nowadays in Barcelona. I don't know if you are aware of this, but here you are. So right now there are 83 projects in Barcelona across 12 areas, 12 application areas. 47,000 jobs have been created, and the savings are from smart water, $58 million from smart water. From smart parking, there are revenues of $53 million. From smart lighting, there are savings of $47 million. And for smart buildings, this is a smart building. It is considered a smart building. I don't know. From the savings are $124 million. The source for this data are from Cisco. Cisco probably is working closely with Barcelona administration. Now, in security and emergencies, the Libellium has identified these specific applications: perimeter access control to detect if someone is moving in an area, liquid presence in an area, in a building, if there is corrosion in some pipes or in some tanks, the radiation levels from nuclear power stations, this would be very useful in Japan. A few years ago, there was this tsunami that caused a serious problem in the nuclear power stations. Also, detection of hazardous or explosive gases in several areas, like mines. There may be gases that will be dangerous for people. Now, smart environment, using Internet of Things in order to monitor and taking decisions in smart environments, like farming, agriculture, livestock. We have done a paper on this area, on farming and agriculture. So, again, we control the water, the pollution, and monitor the weather, the nature. We have these specific applications, for example, forest fire detection. We can have sensors in a forest in order to monitor if there is a fire or if there is a danger or a threat of fire. Air pollution in several areas, either cities or in other places. The snow level monitoring for ski resorts, and also connected with this, in order to prevent avalanches. So you know this is a serious problem in ski areas, and people are using sensors in order to monitor the conditions of the snow and either making technical avalanche or notifying people to go away. Also for landslides prevention, again, these are, for example, in California. I know this because I was in Los Angeles. I have done my PhD there. There is people build houses near the seaside, but the ocean is very close. And also, if there is a huge rainfall, then the soil becomes unstable. And a lot of houses that are near very beautiful places, but not very stable with respect to the soil, are going away. When a lot of rain is falling, the houses go with the rain. But maybe they have a lot of money, they can build another house, because these houses are in very beautiful places and they have a nice view. Also for earthquake detection, you know that in Greece we have earthquakes, and we have some sensors to measure the activity of the earth. In smart agriculture and animal farming, we have specific applications like controlling the level of water to the vinegars in order to have the best quality of wine. You know, this is a very tricky job to control the conditions exactly in order to have the best quality of wine. Also, greenhouses. Now, agriculture uses a lot of greenhouses, so you can control the conditions of atmosphere, humidity, temperature, irrigation, etc. In golf courses, meteorological stations, also in compost, to do the best compost, controlling the climate of the environment. In hydroponics, Israel has done a lot of work on hydroponics. they grow plants just with water. In offspring care, in animal farms, in animal tracking. Before I come in Barcelona, a farmer, someone who has a lot of goats in Greece, he called me at my office and asked me about devices in order to put them on his goats to know where its goats are, because they are free to go to the mountains and around. So he told me if I knew any system that could be installed on his goats in order to monitor them. Because I don't know, maybe you can use satellites, they can go everywhere. Also, toxic gas levels in farms. Now, another area of application of Internet of Things is in industry and in manufacturing. And as we saw before, this is an area that a lot of money is spent by industry. Smart factories, manufacturing and robotics. Also in services like financial services, banking, insurance. In the United States, insurance companies agree with customers to put sensors on their cars in order to control their behavior. So if a customer in a car insurance company behaves well, he has lower rates to pay. If he is more aggressive, then the company says, okay, you will pay more for insurance. And also in other areas, they already are using such kind of Internet of Things applications. So we see the evolution of industries, and we are now in the Internet of Things industries. Applications for industrial control are the machine-to-machine applications to communicate two machines. For example, when one machine needs input from the other machine. To control again the air quality in manufacturing, the temperature, the ozone presence in several factories with food, the indoor location using technologies like Zigbee, RFID, and also the vehicle auto diagnosis. So we know that new cars have a lot of sensors installed on them, and they can control all parts of the car. Of course, all these are also points of security threats. For example, imagine that someone can control your car. You are in your car, you drive your car, and an intruder attacks the car and controls a part of your car or the whole car. Now, smart logistics and supply chain management. You can control with Internet of Things the applications. You can control vibrations, strokes, if the container is opened, because you seal the containers and you can control what time it is opened. The item locations, you already use RFID in order to have the location of items, know where its product or its container is every moment. You can control, for example, if you order something from the internet, you know where exactly is this product from the time it leaves the seller until you come to your house. Storage incompatibility detection. For example, if an item should not be stored in a place due to conditions that are not proper. Fleet tracking to track, for example, medical drugs or jewels. Now, we said previously also about smart transportation in airlines, railways, shipping, cars, etc. Here we see a picture by Alcatel-Lucent that shows a train that is monitored and communicate with other devices and applications for operations of the train or for security reasons. Here we see another picture with tolls, tunnels, and actually we have done also in Greece, we are doing now an application that gives the maintenance workers of a big highway in Greece. This is the Egnatia highway. It connects east-west, the north part of Greece. And the maintenance workers want to know where there are problems, for example, with the lighting or something else. And we can record these incidents and transmit them to a database, and then appropriate actions are taken. Some workers will go to fix the problems. Now, let's move a little to the technology in order to implement all these applications. We need sensors and actuators. We said that there will be about, by 2020, there will be about 30 or 50 billion devices. We need wireless communications and wireline, fiber optics, but mainly wireless because it is more easy to communicate, like RFID, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, satellite, etc. Networks. Addressing issues, now we move to IPv with 64 bits. Cloud computing for storage, processing, analytics, security issues, etc. I will not go to details about the technology, but Zebra Technologies have done a survey in 2012, and the managers of industries and scientists said that what technology is more important, and the green is what they consider as the more important, and the blue the less important. And they consider as the most important barcodes, real-time location tracking, Wi-Fi, mobile computing, GPS tracking, security sensors, RFID, and etc. All these are technologies that will be used to develop all these applications. Now, what are the research challenges? What scientists do with respect to research, and also what companies should invest in order to have better results. Devices. So the main point that we will need in order to develop all these applications will be devices, sensors, actuators, and other decision-making devices. We need networking and communications. We need data management, decision-making, algorithms in order to take decisions for all these issues. Security and privacy. I will talk a little about security in the next slides. Of course, we need to address social and legal issues because this changes our life, and it is not a simple issue. Of course, the economics and also issues about human behavior and usability, and if people will accept all these applications and services. And of course, marketing issues in order to promote all these applications. Now, what big companies are doing in order to promote Internet of Things. Google has an open challenge with deadline January 21st. So they opened this a few days ago, this challenge. They will give grants for open innovation research proposals. The grants will be either individual project grants up to $150,000 or expedition lead grants up to $800,000, for example, for a group of scientists, a university lab, in order to support PhD students to do research, for example. I know the time is very close, now it's Christmas, but this is an opportunity. The disciplines that they want to finance are intersection disciplines among several sciences on human-computer interaction, on privacy and security issues, and on systems and protocols. These are the three areas that Google identifies as candidate areas for proposals. Also, there is another challenge by Cisco for women, for young women. The first deadline is March 25, and the second one is May 11th. And young women should be very young, 13 to 18 years old. They will finance ideas with respect on Internet of Things with respect to education, healthcare, manufacturing, energy, retail, transportation, and smart cities. So you see that Cisco identified this as interesting areas. Now, let's move on security issues and connect this with Cisco. Cisco said that there will be weak links along the route, the chain of activities. And which are weak links? Weak links can be poorly written code, can be outdated software. So someone who has not updated his software on his computer or on the computer of his company. An abandoned website. There are thousands or millions of websites that are abandoned. And people who have created them, they don't keep on this. A developer, some errors on software, and a user who blindly trusts, for example, if he receives an email message with a worm or whatever else. Now, what are the losses due to attacks? The Center for Strategic and International Studies estimated that about $100 billion is lost annually in the United States economy. And also about 500,000 jobs are lost. So you see, this is an enormous number. Also, the Ponemon Institute estimated that the average cost of security problems was $5.4 million, United States dollars, in 14th. And it was In 13, it was 4.5. So you see about 1 more million in 1 year. In a survey by the magazine Computer World that was done this year, the responders, IT managers from companies, they said that the next big challenge for spending the next 12 months will be security by 15%. And the others are other managerial issues. So companies consider the security as a big issue. Nearly half of the ID leaders, again with respect to this Computer World magazine poll, about half of the companies will invest more on security with respect to the access control, intrusion prevention, identity management, virus and malware protection. Now, some attack examples. The attack can be on a device, on software, on the network. So, on a device, the simplest thing is that someone goes and steals a device. So the device should be secured with respect physically, or can be modified or replaced. For example, we have done work on security issues of wireless sensor networks with respect to if a sensor is replaced by the intruder. So we have, let's say, 1,000 sensors, and an attacker replaces one sensor. And this can contaminate the whole network. Or a device can be cloned. It's software. If someone modifies the software, or take a byte to extract credentials from the software, or to exhaust the software, the denial of service. So I don't know, probably you know, all of you, the denial of service is if you ask a lot of things from a software, then this software cannot do what is destined to do. For example, a website. An attacker can ask continuously pages from this website, and no one else can see this website because the attacker exhausts the bandwidth from this website. And also the network that I will tell you more about this in the next slides. Now, the Avast company, you know Avast is a security company, said that the routers is the primary target for hackers. And people should take care of the routers. And also the chief operation officer at this company, at Avast company, Andrei Vletsk, said that the hackers want to take over all the network and not just a device of the network. So their purpose is to control the whole network. So again, when we say network, consider hundreds or thousands of sensors that constitute a network in a building or in a factory. And if they control the network, then they control anything. So some other people have said also that the attackers, what they want is to have a profit. So probably they will not attack a house because they don't have to have a profit from this attack. Probably they will attack a company or a bank or wherever they can find some, they can imagine where they can find some profit. Now, what is a wireless network? A wireless network is composed by sensors that are autonomous and cooperatively monitor several conditions in this environment, like temperature, sound, vibration, etc. A sensor is something like this. It has a power unit. People try to develop sensors that will not need power. Now, this is a project in Berkeley, in California, but I don't know, probably they have not succeeded yet, although they can try to use techniques from RFID, where the power of the sensor is taken wirelessly by other devices. So maybe you know that people have, based on ideas by Tesla, have managed to transfer energy wirelessly, not only with wires, wire cables, but wirelessly. So there are sensors, memory and processing, transceiver in order to transmit the information, and other sub-devices like GPS or some other location finding system. Here we have a wireless sensor network composed by sensors. We have sync, and this information through internet or satellites is transferred to a decision maker. Then he can send, this can be a person or can be a software, an application. He can send back the decisions, and the actuators can take decisions. However, these sensors are vulnerable to various attacks. Here we see an attacker that causes malfunction of the network. For example, this attacker can have two nodes and notify the other nodes in the network that there is a link between these two nodes. So the other nodes of the network send their information to these malicious nodes, and the traffic is not transmitted to the sink because they control now the whole network. There are various techniques. I will not go to technical details because this is an introductory presentation. So let's describe some attack models. Eavesdropping. An attacker intercepts packets transmitted over the air and makes cryptanalysis of the traffic that is passing through. So this is also important information, just to know what kind of traffic is transmitted through the network, and not corrupt the traffic, but just to watch the traffic and see what is transmitted. Traffic analysis. The attacker tries to determine the activity in the network, the location of the base stations, and what type of protocols are used. These are passive kind of attacks. Message injection. The attacker injects extra information on the messages that are transmitted through the network. We have also active attackers, like message modification. So for example, the attacker can say in a message and makes 1 to make it to be 0. So you understand this, what it can be done in a banking account to put an extra 0, change 1 for 0 or 0 for 1. Not capture. This is what I told you earlier, that the attacker controls one node of the network. And in this way, he can contaminate the whole network. The denial of service attack. In this kind of attacks, we have two kinds. We have either service degradation. So, for example, the attacker can send continuously messages in order to congest the network. So the traffic that is transmitted through the network will be delayed. Or we have, for example, power exhaustion with jamming. If the attacker continuously sends information, and the other nodes also try to transmit, but they cannot transmit because the attacker sends continuously information on the air, and there is jamming of packets from the legitimate nodes and the attacker. The legitimate nodes will exhaust their power because they try continuously to transmit and they cannot transmit. So these are kind of attacks in networks. We have tried to, this is a field that we are trying to develop to visualize the security problems in a network. Up to now, there were not any packages, software packages, to show in a nice way security problems in networks. There are software packages for visualizing security problems in servers or other computer systems. Also, there were other visualization methods for showing the traffic management in a network, but we have extended this to security network visualization. So we want some nice visualizations of the network, and when there is a problem, security problem in the network, to be able to see it in a nice way and fast. So we have, there is a new security discipline emerges for network security visualization. Here we see some visualization. This is a network. It's the normal condition of a network. And we try to map this network to other kind of visualizations frames in order to see when some strange things will happen. The network is monitored, and the administrators watch in big screens the conditions of the network. Messages in text appearing on his screen, but also other kind of visualizations are appearing on his screen in order to notify him about strange or peculiar activities. So this is a simple network analysis. This is a security analysis, network security analysis based on visual analytics. You see, I will show you some nice pictures in order to take a glimpse of such kind of screens. So what we try to extract from this kind of visualization is to show to the administrator peculiar cases in order to be notified that something is happening in his network. So, concluding my presentation, what we have talked about today is that Internet of Things will enable dramatic society changes in almost every society issue. The wireless sensor networks is a main ingredient of Internet of Things, because this is how devices, people, objects will communicate. And the security of a wireless sensors network is important, and we should consider about this and in the future. So this concludes my presentation, and thank you for your attention. So if you have any questions.
Is about this last part presented, how easy is to get this information, how secure is this, how good is this information,
how secure is this information?
and how and when the amount of information you have to monitor gets larger, how easy is to get this information and get a good picture of the relations. And also I'm imagining you just study some patterns of attacks, and how it will be in things you have not predicted, if you can get things, I don't know, just a little more detail. Thanks.
Okay. The administrator, the security administrator, watches on his screen his network. If from some point something starts to develop in one area of the network, then he starts looking more carefully in this area, and something may be happening. The attacker cannot occupy the network instantaneously. He needs some time in order to occupy. He may occupy, conquer one node, but then he has to do some malicious activity. So when he starts doing his malicious activities, then there is a transient period that starts developing the results of the malicious activities. So the administrator will look at something is happening there. So he cannot instantaneously contaminate all the information that is transmitted to the administrator, and so he can control all the information instantaneously. Otherwise, he can to instantaneously control the whole network, so he cannot do it.
But in the case of these cooperative environments you talked it before, do you think it could be also used, this kind of visualization techniques in an open environments where new devices can be introduced, and that maybe the administrator is difficult to get to know the real picture. Just when appears something, it's just to know if these techniques could be used in these more open and cooperative environments.
In decentralized environments,
yes.
Because here we have a network that is operated by an administrator, and he has the visualization of his network. And you say how easy it is to be extended to a group of networks that are controlled by several administrators. Yeah, we have not looked at this.
Just if you have some intuition.
If the administrators among these networks exchange information about the conditions of their networks, then you can have a collected view of all the networks. And of course, you should be careful if another administrator is an attacker, because you don't know what are the others. So maybe you can have a picture by collecting all this information. But we were talking about issues of game theoretic before. That was something different from the visualization. It was that you have a network, and there is an attacker, and there is a game theoretic problem among them. There is the attacker and the defender, and the attacker tries to exploit whatever he can, and the defender tries to protect his network, trying to understand what the attacker is doing. Of course, each one does not know exactly what the other is doing. So they try to guess what are the actions of the opponent in order to the defender to protect his network and the attacker to occupy the network, or not occupy the network, just to pollute the network or change the message or whatever his action, because we don't know what he's trying to do. So in this, maybe we can combine this approach with visualization. I don't know, we have not looked.
Yeah, but very interesting. Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. It was
Thanks.
Nice.
Any other question?
Thank you for your talk. Could you give us a short description on this last part on the visualization, on the machine learning techniques that you're using in order to see these like strange behaviors in the network?
Actually, we have not done a lot of algorithmic use in order to show these curves and all these stuff. This is a more transformations of the network, of the graph, to different visualization options. We have tried also to use Fourier transformations, but we have not found something interesting. Such kind of transformation we have done. But when I wrote about machine learning techniques, these are the part that maybe it has not to do a lot with the visualization, but it has to do a lot with the decision to decide if there is an attack now. For example, if there are a lot of packets dropping, then this is a simple case. Then, okay, you say if the threshold, if the packet dropping rate is above the threshold, then there is an attack. This is a very simple decision algorithm. You can have a more complicated decision algorithms. Such kind of.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so interesting talk. Thank you very much. Now my question is about Internet of Things. That you mentioned many applications in real world. Okay, so what do you think? Since you are an expert of e-learning, what do you think are the expectations for e-learning? Do you know of any real application for e-learning now that can be useful for students, teachers?
All the area of mobile learning has to do with Internet of Things, because the students that go to a forest for a class and they take pictures of flowers and they monitor the water of rivers or they watch and take pictures of animals. They can communicate all this information among themselves and also to send them to a base station, to the teacher, to the school. So you can consider that this is an Internet of Things application. I don't know right now more elaborated applications that are applications of Internet of Things on education, but all the area of mobile learning can be considered as such kind of applications.
Thank you very much.
More questions? I have a question for you too. Okay. I would like to know your opinion about well, how this Internet of Things will affect, because you talk about decision making and the algorithms that you need to employ in order to take decisions, because you have a lot of data there. But do you think this Internet of Things will shift the paradigm of algorithms, of some algorithms, in order to take online decisions or real-time decisions?
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yes, because we want both real-time decisions and also decentralized decisions. For example, I saw you in the network example here, that here there is a task manager, that here we have the sensor networks, and the information is transmitted through internet or satellites to a task manager. But this task manager can be also here. So we can have a decision making either locally or remotely. So you must take decisions instantaneously. For example, if the air pollution goes above a level, then you should take actions immediately. Otherwise, people will die, or something else terrible will happen. So you need real-time decisions. Of course, there are other applications that will need offline decisions, but I think most of the applications will need real-time decision and locally also here. That's why companies like Cisco talk about a new paradigm that is called fog computing. They say that forget the cloud computing now, we go to fog computing and also to edge computing. So we have to take decisions decentralized locally at the places where action is happening now, where we monitor something and we have to take actions there. And they say that the cloud computing will be only for storing information. So we store in the cloud data, information, but the action will be taking place at the edges of the network, locally, real time.
Thank you.
In the sensor networks, for what I've been reading, the sensors need to save power because they are normally plugged with batteries or something like that. So if you need to visualize what's going on in the network, do you need to embed some kind of monitoring software that sends afterwards the information that you need to visualize it, or it's something that intrinsically the sensor networks have? Or?
Actually, it is not extra information that you said. You send already some information for network management reasons. You already said such kind of information. So you can use this information to visualize what is happening in the network. And of course, the energy issue is a very important issue. And that's why people try to make battery-free devices. This will be maybe a major, this will have a major implication for all this stuff, because people, and we also, doing research on saving energy. But if you will not need to save energy, then you can do more things.
So you mean that this monitoring information is normally sent already in most of the sensor networks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you want also, but if you want also to record extra information, because as much information you have, the better decisions you can make. So you can also have extra information collected, but in the expense of, as you say, energy consumption.
Sorry, and which kind of information you get from each node? For example, the number of packages sent and things like this?
Yeah. It's the number of packets sent, the number of packets received or dropped, such kind of things.
Yeah, I have one question about, I mean, it's more or less, I would like to know your opinion about something, Internet of Things, cellular networks, and these kind of things. Basically, let's say in the world of sensor networks, we are. I mean, most of the research is focused on energy saving, so low power nodes. At the same time, when you talk with people doing research on cellular networks, they are completely focused on the Internet of Things or the Internet of Everything or something like that. For new standards, they are actually designing the new access, medium access, thinking about, I mean, this thing. I would like to know how from your opinion, I mean, from your point of view, how this gap between low power nodes and cellular network that will provide you with, let's say, larger coverage, how this gap will be breached. From your opinion, I mean, this is something I always have in mind, because when you hear, let's say, the big guys, the ones, the vendors, etc., they are designing new cellular networks for that. But at the same time, so it's.
As I've said before, I think that we will have a lot of small networks around, owned by various organizations or by simply users, and they have to cooperate with them. Then this information is transmitted either through cellular networks or satellite networks to other stakeholders that are interested in this. At this point, the major medium access protocol for such kind of communication is Wi-Fi. And actually, Samsung has announced a few weeks ago a new modification on Wi-Fi achieving enormous bandwidth. I don't remember the exact numbers. Now, after this, the communication can be done with fiber optics, cellular networks, satellite networks, so they can coexist, all these technologies. I don't think that one technology will exhaust the others. All of them will exist and will cooperate. Maybe a big company will have cellular networks up to here. So they can control, maybe these are not simple sensors, maybe these are people walking around. So maybe they will need cellular technology in order to communicate. So all these technologies will coexist, and there will be some bridges to transfer the information from one network to the other. I don't know if I answered your question.
Okay, any final question? No? So just to remember that Professor Economides will be here with us at Diane 3 until June, more or less, this year. So he's at the 8th floor, so feel free, everybody, to visit him and ask him more questions during this time. So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming and staying. And we can discuss after the seminar, or you can come to my office that was provided by Ansel to me. And we can discuss anytime issues of common interest.
Thank you.
Thank you.